The man was preparing to urinate into the sea, but just as he loosened his belt, he didn't expect the sail behind him to crash directly onto his back. The man was knocked over directly, almost falling into the icy sea. At this moment, the sailboat was still moving quickly, and any slight mistake could make him slip and lose his grip. If he fell, he would only be able to wait for death. The man adjusted his breathing, trying to turn to find a foothold. He swung his body forcefully, finally stepping onto the yacht just before losing his grip. Then he slowly crawled in from under the railing. Although he narrowly escaped danger, the next moment he suddenly felt stomach pain. Having learned his lesson, he no longer dared to relieve himself anywhere, so he rushed into the cabin, preparing to use the narrow bathroom to solve the problem. However, at that moment, the steel door behind him suddenly locked. The man didn't pay attention, thinking it was just the sound of the sea wind. But when he tried to leave, he found that the bathroom's security door wouldn't open. The man tried every method, but the door remained immovable, without even a small gap. The man panicked immediately. He opened the bathroom vanity to look for tools to unlock it. Then he found a pair of scissors inside the bathroom. The man tried to twist or pry them, but they had no effect at all. At that moment, a siren suddenly sounded outside. The man leaned to the window and saw a cargo ship heading straight towards him. If he didn't adjust the direction immediately, it would crash and break apart. The man reached out and waved his clothes desperately for help, but the cargo ship still didn't notice him. He tried to stick his head out of the window, but the window was too small. He couldn't get out at all. The next moment, the sharp edge scraped his face painfully. After a simple adjustment, the man thought of a solution. He grabbed a rope with his hand, then tied a knot casually, and threw it into the sea. He wanted to use the rope to wrap around the propeller to change the small boat's direction. As the rope he threw out grew longer, the man finally succeeded, but the speed was too fast, and the rope directly wrapped around his neck. Just as he was about to suffocate, the man suddenly grabbed a small hook. He hooked it around his neck, and with all his strength, he finally freed himself. However, before he could react, he found the cargo ship had already reached in front of him. Soon, the yacht he was on was violently struck. The next moment, a large amount of seawater began to flood the bathroom. After all the struggles, the man was exhausted. He wanted to drink water but found there was no water source on the boat. Losing his mind, he scooped up some seawater, but it tasted disgusting. He quickly spit it out. Seeing that the seawater was about to drown him, the man hurriedly tried to bail water with a cup in a last struggle. However, his speed was far from enough, and the yacht he had picked seemed as if someone was controlling it, heading straight toward the storm. Soon, heavy rain fell, and a large amount of rainwater accelerated the flooding into the cabin. The next morning, the seawater had risen to his shoulders. Having soaked all night, the man's whole body had become numb. He tried to kick the doorboard with the last bit of strength, but in the end, it had no effect. The man was completely desperate.